When you are working with dates in Excel, have you ever seen the date converted to what seems to be a large random number? If so, there is a reason behind that. When it converts to what seems to be a random number, that's considered a serial number. And what Excel is doing is using January 1st of 1900 as a baseline date. And any date that you use in a calculation is converted to the number of days it has been since January 1st, 1900. So the result is the number of days that that particular date is from January 1st of 1900. So when it converts that into the number of days, that can then be used in a calculation. For example, I'm going to use the days function here to find the number of days between these two dates. You can perform a regular formula, but I'm going to use the dialog box in days so that you can see the conversion there. Okay, so I'm going to use the days function, and it has two dates. We're going to use the January 31st as the end date and the start date as January 1st. So the difference between those two dates is 30. But notice what it did. It converted the end date, January 31st, 2023, to a number. This is the number of days that it has been between January 31st of 2023 and January 1st of 1900. And the same here for January 1st, 2023. When it converts that into the number of days, it then can perform the calculation and find the number of days between those two dates. Now, why do they use January 1st of 1900? A couple of reasons. Part of the issue is that they used to use two-digit dates, two-digit years for dates. So for example, 1899 and 1999, if you used a two-digit date using 99 for the year, for the two-digit year, then you would not be able to distinguish between 1899 and 1999, which could be a problem in calculations. So the issue then is, for example, people born in 1900 versus 2000 and so forth. And if you remember, in 2000 there was a big issue where all of the years in computer systems were converted to a four-digit year. And otherwise, what date would you use? You have to have some kind of date as a baseline, so that was a good date for them to use. So let's look at the format of dates. If I take these two dates and try to format them as dates, and let's say we want to format with two-digit year here. Excel does not recognize the date before 1899. Okay, so I'll undo that. And let's just format them as numbers. Now this is January 31st of 1900. Okay, so let's just say general format. If we use the general format, then it will show the second date as the number of days from 1900, which is correct. We entered January 31st of 1900, but it does not understand the 1899 date. So when you calculate those dates, using general or number will give you the result from the 1900 date, but it does not recognize dates before 1899. Now, there are ways that you can handle that, but in our case, we won't worry about that. So if you look at the calculation of dates, we can just say the 31st minus the 1st, 1899. If we do that, it gives us an error message because it cannot handle the date 1899. Now if we copy that formula over, because these are dates in 1900 or beyond, it can calculate the number of days in between, so we can use a number there, and there are 31 days in between those two dates.